actually. Oh, this is working. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the stream. My name is Nash. It's been a while since I did one of these. I usually do these to answer comments that I don't have the time to type when I'm responding to. So this is the best way, really, to answer comments using video. And it can always be saved for future videos. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio. Trying to look at it on my phone. Videos. Let me know if you guys can hear the audio. Oh, it works. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm just gonna give it a second here until we start. Um, all right, let me grab some water before we get into all this. All right, I went and got some coffee. Had a long day at work, but yeah, I'm gonna be answering questions. If you have any questions, just drop them in the chat, and I'm also gonna be, or the main purpose is gonna be to go over comments on my YouTube. So there's a lot of really good questions that I wish I could make a video on every single time. Uh, but all right, so I'm gonna go over the first comment here. Let me go ahead and share my screen. The streaming stuff is not easy. If I close this, all right. All right, so the first question is from or comment is from GZ Trading. Let's see, where's the question part? Okay, I'm looking more into the financial planning sector. I'm taking online classes with Liberty University and will get my bachelor's within a year. Do you think getting my any random finance internship will help me become financial planner slash advisor with a bigger company in the future? Do you think I should be going for internships that are more targeted to that sector? So for let me go ahead and bring myself back here. All right. So if you want to be a financial advisor, so this is kind of like a unique area in finance where you need certifications in order to really move up, or even to advise someone on what to do with their money, right? Financially, you need some kind of a certification. And let me see if I can find you here some of the certifications here. Uh, if I can not, so hard to type on this keyboard. In order. Uh, See if I can find it. All right, so you need, certifications to, if you're gonna be advising people on what stocks to buy, you're gonna need to be certified to do all those things. So when it comes to internships, they don't really help you if you want to go into being a financial advisor, because I know that a lot of firms, there's also a lot of scams too when it comes to, looking for financial advisor jobs where, it's not really a scam, but it's just like they're not honest with the type of work you're going to be doing. Usually what they'll do is they'll take you in and sponsor you to take, because you do have to be sponsored to take those certifications and exams, and they'll sponsor you, but at the same time you're working for them, and they usually pay you. I think you have to pay, like, rent out a desk or something like that. So you gotta be careful when it comes to looking for jobs like that. But when it comes to internships, it doesn't really matter if you're gonna go be a financial advisor. If you're able to intern under like a financial advisor, someone who is already established, then that's great. That would definitely give you kind of like some kind of insights. But if you want to be a financial advisor, I would recommend, figuring out what exams you have to take. And if you can do it while you're in college, that's even better. If you're able to be sponsored by, someone who runs a financial advising firm, and they do that a lot too. Like, they sponsor a lot of people to take those exams, because you do have to be sponsored by an employer, I believe. But you don't have to do internships that are focused on, the financial, advising area alone. Any internship will really help you, honestly, for work experience. All right. Another one here is gonna be, see here. Oh, I figured out how to do this. Oh yeah. All right. So the next one is from Futures Trader. Oh, not this one. From Kevin Xavier. You don't need to go into investment banking right out of college. Yes, that would be the best, but if you don't, it's not the end of the world. There's still stepping stone jobs that can get you into investment banking and bring you straight to the buy side. So this is very true. I know that a lot of people want to go into investment banking right after college, and not everyone is going to be able to do that, simply because when these investment banks are recruiting, when you're on a college campus, if you went to a target school, right, you have investment banks come recruit over there. There's a lot of people that want to go into investment banking, so there's a lot of competition, right? And they only have so many spots open. So you're not always gonna get the shot to do that, but a lot of people after that, they're like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get in. I didn't get in while I was in college. But there are so many jobs that you could do right after college that will be a stepping stone to getting into investment banking. To this day, I do get investment banking offers, and I didn't go to a target school, and and I don't wish to work in investment banking, but I still get offers, from recruiters from, those investment banks. That's because, I've already done the stepping stone jobs. You can work as a financial analyst, you can work as a consultant, you can work, which is the two things that I've done. Those are really good stepping stone jobs. If you get maybe 1 to 2 years of work experience, you can definitely switch over to investment banking. If you know someone that works in investment banking, that is going to be a lot easier, because they can just refer you. If you can reach out to recruiters on LinkedIn, um, they can refer you to that as well. Okay, so we'll do another one here. If I can minimize my screen so you guys can see. All right, so the next one is from Futures Trader. I'm 30 years old and will be done with my education when I'm 32. Is it okay? Is it okay, or am I in trouble? My friend, you are fine. It might be a little weird once you get to the workplace, if you're getting like entry level jobs. I don't know if this is your bachelor's degree or maybe your master's degree, but if it's your bachelor's and you start getting those entry level jobs, it's gonna be a little weird, because it's probably gonna be a 20 something year old that's your supervisor, or that's telling you what to do, or that's training you. If you don't mind that, you're fine. But as long as you're fine with that, you should be great. All right, so see if I can find another good one here. Oh yeah, I made a video like a long time ago, on maybe it was a short, that was explaining that you need to avoid business degrees that are too general. Now, someone said, I wish someone told me this, right? That's always the biggest regret, right? That's one. If you're not in school yet, if you plan on going to college, or maybe you're in college, you still have a couple of years ahead of you. The biggest advice I'll give you is in finance. I think I also made a video called "How to Major in Finance" or something like that. You really, really have to take time to figure out what you want to specialize in, right? So, or in business in general. So you could do accounting, finance; those are the two most popular. Or you can go into maybe business analytics, go into management, operations. These are all areas within business that you can really focus in, right? I've seen a lot of people just get a business degree, right? A general business degree. Now, when they apply to, there's no job such as a general business job, right? All the jobs are focused. But at the same time, if you have someone who has, if it's operations position open and someone has a business degree, but they focused on operations or they specialize in operations, they're likely to be more qualified for the job than someone who just has a general business degree. And also on the job as well, you do have to specialize in maybe it's getting a certification. Even if you had that general business degree, I recommend getting a certification in order to be a specialist at what you do. The goal should always to be irreplaceable, right? If they can't replace you, then they can only offer you money, hoping that you don't leave. So that's a tip right there. On to some comments here. The first one's from Nathan B. Says, "What do you enjoy about your job?" So right now I work as a consultant. Um, and the best thing is really just, it's never boring. You work with a lot of clients. I work with a lot of banks, or financial services provider, institutions. So it's always a different, every company does things differently. Maybe it's the software they use or the tools that they use to do their job. I have to go in and learn those tools. And I think that's something that's very valuable to have. I'm looking to go back to being a financial analyst pretty soon. Um, got some interviews lined up, but the goal is to go back to be a financial analyst right now, if I get the right offer. So one of the things that I talk about with these, one of the things that recruiters ask if you're coming from consulting is what tools have you been exposed to, what tools have you used, and they're always surprised that it's a lot, and that's what consulting does for you. And you can never get bored because you can, after the project is over, you're going to a different project. But then on the downside, you are gonna have projects that you hate, right? Projects that are terrible, that are like, you just don't want to do it, but you still have to do it. Um, so I mean, if it's like a 3 month project, then you'll be fine. But if it's like a 6 month project, then you just have to do it until it's over. But it always ends, right? And then you go into the next project. And as you do more projects and you have a lot more work experience, you're gonna be able to kind of like pick the project that you want to do. So another cool thing is in between projects, there's a time called like bench time, right? Which is essentially you're waiting for your next project, right? Or you're waiting to be staffed on a different project, or maybe you're looking for a project that you want to do. So you just chill, really. You do some courses online if you want to. Let's say, I work in finance, but if I want to go into technology, right now I'm taking some blockchain classes, so that if there's a project that requires things with blockchain technology, I can put that as I'm certified in this, or I've taken how many hours in this course of a blockchain, so I can, so you have so many things that you can do. You can never really be bored as long as you really apply yourself. um okay, so the next one is, what books you recommend for accounting and finance students. um Let's see here. I don't know if this is for just general books or books that teach you finance and accounting. Um, but when it comes to like textbooks, honestly, for accounting and finance, to really break it down, if you haven't majored in it or you're trying to get into it, for accounting, I would just really study the financial statements, right? The income statement. What's the other one? It's been a long time. Statement of cash flow, I believe, and then you also have the balance sheet, right? Those are gonna be how they're connected. I think I was gonna make a video on that actually. Um, Yeah, if you haven't, I think the biggest thing that, if you're gonna major in finance or accounting, they're pretty much similar, right? You have to understand the bigger concepts, right? Because if you try to like really understand the little things, like maybe understanding corporate finance, money and banking, understanding taxes, those are, you can go you can go on the rabbit hole of learning those things. But when it comes to fully grasping the entire subject, you have to understand the conceptual like things like that are kind of like the three financial statements. Like I said, you can understand the income statement, balance sheet, statement of cash flow, right? And you can look into things like net present value or the discount rate. Those are more specific things that you're gonna find in finance, right? This is essentially, it relates to every business, right? They need to calculate the return on their investment, right? And they also need to calculate maybe the return on a project that they need to partake in, right? And you can go into maybe things like standard deviation, which might take you a long time to fully grasp if you've never done it before for the statistic classes. Um, yeah, I would look for maybe some basic introduction to finance or accounting class. Accounting books. There's a lot of like PDF uh, books that you can find online. I think I've done a video on how to find free books and courses online, business courses online. There's a website. I don't know if I can find it. Um, yeah, but the website where you can learn that. So I would just stick to understanding the bigger concepts, because the more you understand the big concept, or maybe how accounting and finance is connected, right? The more you understand those concepts, the better it's gonna be for you to understand the little things that build those big, concepts up. So, let's see here. Okay, the next one is, why are you switching back to financial analysis? So essentially, when it comes to consulting, you can't do consulting forever, right? A lot of consultants usually exit within 2 years of doing consulting, and that's because they always get better offers, right? There's always they go be VPs, they go be directors and managers and things like that to companies that don't really focus on consulting. So that's my thing. I was gonna wait maybe a year or two, but when you start getting offers, a lot of financial institutions or companies are hiring people in finance, right? So you get a lot of offers, and sometimes it's like, am I ever gonna get a better offer than this? But yeah, so I want to go back because that's what I want to do. I talk a lot about being a financial analyst, and that's something that I really enjoy doing. Consulting is fun, don't get me wrong, it's fun. But I think really doing financial analysis and focusing on one specific company, that is a lot more fun than consulting. So here I'm gonna pick another question here. See if I can find a good one. All right, so someone asked, it's one of the comments. It said, "When can I apply to finance related jobs? I'm going into college, or after at least 1 year." So I believe you're talking about internships. So for internships, I would really recommend, a lot of internships don't really allow freshmen. I don't know if they still do that right now, but they usually started maybe a sophomore, junior. That's gonna be like one of those big internship programs that are established. But I would recommend applying your first year, your freshman year, to you can find some that really take freshmen, or you can apply to part-time jobs, right? As I talk about this on a bunch of videos, apply to a data entry job, applied to be financial, what is it, financial assistant, apply to do that. You are gonna find something. So I would do it as soon as you can. That's what I did when I went to college. My freshman year, I believe I was working at the library uh, during the school, but then the summer I went to work as I think it was a financial assistant, something like that, and that was through one of those what do you call them, agency, like job agencies. It was a part-time job just for the summer, like a seasonal type job. So I would, you can always look for things like that. And if you don't get a job, I guess in in finance, that's finance related. Um, I recommend just doing maybe learning Microsoft Excel, right? Getting a certification or just practicing your skills in Microsoft Excel, or maybe other tools if you want to get into maybe learn Python programming, right? That's something that you can definitely add to your tools of finance if you want to work in finance. That's very unique and that's going to help you. So nowadays you can, learning about the new technologies like blockchain. That's what I'm learning about right now, blockchain technology. That's something that's, the world is moving that way, right? Learning about payment systems and things like that. Those are gonna be skills that or things that that are definitely gonna help you when it comes to adding tools to your finance experience. See if I can find another one here. Do one last one. I'll probably do this stream tomorrow again at the same time. I see. All right, so the next one is I wanted to know what are some underrated jobs in finance that pay well and have high growth. This one's from Andrew. So for this one, actually, I think a lot of people don't really realize how big the finance industry is, right? And one of those fields that I was working in actually right after college is insurance, right? Think about the business model for insurance. Maybe it's a third party administrator or like an insurance firm. These companies are always going to make money. They get money from the premium. Think about yourself. If you have your car insurance, right, you're going to make sure that you pay your premium every month and on time because your insurance is going to get canceled, right? This is revenue for those insurance companies. And how many times do you actually make a claim, right? So a lot of people try to avoid making claims on their insurance because it makes the premium go up, right? If you're talking about car insurance or something like that. So this premium that comes in, it is a lot of revenue for these companies, and I've seen the back end of that, how much premium they get. And these jobs tend to, you can find estimates online. I worked as a premium analyst, right? It's pretty much a financial analyst, but focusing on premium insurance, right? You can find, online like how much they get paid by city, but those are never accurate because these companies have the ability to pay people an insane amount of money if they really want to pay you that much money. So jobs in insurance are really, really, really undervalued, right? And also jobs in compliance, right? This is maybe not too financy, but it is really jobs in compliance. So if you go work for these banks and you have a bachelor's degree, you go work in compliance, right? Maybe it's regulatory compliance or something that I focus on right now, which is financial crimes compliance. So anything related to financial crimes, so money laundering, terrorist financing, it's kind of like an investigative job, but you do have to understand your finance in order to investigate money, right? How money is moving and, patterns of money laundering and things like that. You do have to understand that. Um, so that's one of the jobs so when it comes to the compliance jobs, those you do need to, if you want to get paid the big money and go be a VP with just a bachelor's degree, you can get a certification. I believe it is called the CAMS, CAMS certification. That one you do have to be sponsored by a company. So if you're working for a company that does that, if they're doing maybe anti-money laundering for an entry level, I think you can work for them for a year. Then you can ask them to sponsor you to take that exam. But yeah, so jobs in insurance and jobs in compliance. Compliance. So a lot of banks need compliance. Banks get fined if someone I'll give you a solid example. Like this is what I do for a living now. So let's say if this is not obviously you can't talk about clients, so I'm just using a hypothetical example just in case anyone from the firm is watching. So let's say that Bank of America is they have someone who opens an account, right? Now the person they start sending money to random people. They start receiving money. They're depositing cash on the ATM. They're going to the branch. They're doing things like that, right? Now, if Bank of America gets investigated, right, by is it the I forget the department that oversees I forget the name, but y'all can look this up. So these banks, they get audited, right? The transactions that go in and out. So some transactions might look like someone sent money to a country, and then that money might have been used for maybe terrorism or something related to that, right? Now, who's gonna get fined in that? So the government fines Bank of America. Now, if someone was money laundering, right, and they are depositing they're getting paid in cash, and then they are depositing the money into Bank of America. You know how they get alerted if you deposit more than $10,000 or $10,000. So a lot of people would deposit $9,000, 8,000, 9,000, so that they don't trigger that alert. So if Bank of America doesn't have, analysts that kind of like look for that pattern, and the person launders the money, right? They do it maybe for a couple of years or things like that. They get fined. So banks get fined a lot. They pay hundreds of millions of dollars per year because of those fines. Now, is it their fault? Not really, because there isn't really a lot of people in compliance. There isn't really, a lot of people that have the skill set to that's why they hire consulting firms to do that for them. So that's one job that's super, super interesting, and you can really get paid a lot of money if you're an expert in what you do. If you fully understand how to chase these criminals, you definitely get paid more. Especially if you get a certification. There's so many. You can even look this up yourself. Look up AML, right? Anti-money laundering analyst positions. You're gonna see how many those are. They're everywhere. You can look up. Maybe financial crimes. This is more specific, right? You can look up regulatory compliance, right? Anything in compliance, that is definitely, you can get a starting position, and you get a certification and really move up any position. We got a super chat from Mark Martinez. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think this is the second super chat that I've ever gotten. Um, all right, so Nathan B says, I'm currently a first year UTSA student. I went to UTSA as well, and I'm majoring in finance and real estate. Any recommendations to do as a first year student for my major? Um, Okay, so any recommendations is gonna be, first thing is always gonna be join some organization. Since you've already picked that you want to do finance but in real estate, I would join if there's an organization that is related to that. I would join that. You know that just helps you with networking, right? You're around people that have maybe that are older than you, that are maybe juniors or maybe seniors. Those people might be able to help you navigate. You should take these classes, avoid this professor, do this internship, do this. Those are people that have already done what you're about to do. So I would recommend doing that. I'm pretty sure there's an organization at UTSA that focuses on that. And then the second thing would be to get internships, right, or jobs or part-time jobs, or yeah, I don't really know much about. I'm learning about real estate actually right now, but in terms of the finance and real estate, I don't really know much about that. But I would definitely practice, right? Get some, one of those books that say something something for dummies, right? I have one called Real Estate Investing for Dummies. Get those books and really educate yourself, because I've learned that you can learn things in college, right? And after, when you're actually doing the things, when you're actually doing them at your job, maybe after college, that's when it starts to make sense, right? You're like, oh, this is what this meant, or oh, like I could have learned a different way. So if you already know your specialization that you want to do, especially if you're so narrow, like finance and real estate, you definitely have an advantage going into college. So you just have to really practice that. And also, it doesn't hurt to look for other specializations. If you are, I know that UTSA allows you to take, you might be focused on finance and real estate. It also makes you take intro to accounting, intro to corporate finance, right? Intro to statistics, right? Which is if you want to get into operations and things like that. They do offer you that. So I definitely recommend, learning as much as you can in those classes and trying to figure out if you would like any other specialization. Um, and also I would avoid double majoring, and you can get a minor maybe in analytics or something like that that can complement that degree. See here, what else do we have? All right, from Mark Martinez, it says about to take business Excel course at UTSA. What is the best way to prepare? uh, Business Excel. I think I took that class actually, or did I take that? Maybe. Um, well, there isn't really much you can do to prepare unless you can watch some YouTube videos. If you want to get through the course a lot better, you can like double learn, right? You can watch some of the most complicated things that are kind of like hard to learn in Excel. It's gonna be like VLOOKUPs, HLOOKUPs, things like what else? Like creating pivot tables. Those are things you can practice on your own. That when you're actually taking the course, it's a lot. It's like kind of like a revision, right? Yeah, I would recommend just watching a bunch of YouTube videos on. So what I used to do is I would go on. I'll look up like a finance course, like a Microsoft Excel course, right? And I'll look at the topics, right? Usually, when you look up a course, it shows you the topics that it covers, right? You don't have to pay for that. It could be a paid course, but it shows you the topics that are covered. So I would look at each topic and I'll see something that's interesting. Let's say it says part three of the course, you learn how to do VLOOKUPs, right? And then I would go to Excel, to YouTube, and I'll look up, how to do VLOOKUPs. Lookups. I'll watch a bunch of videos, and I have my Excel open. I practice and practice and practice. And another cool thing that I did was, as I was practicing how to do that, I'll go on Fiverr. If you guys are familiar with that website, Fiverr.com, where you can sell anything for $5, right, or above or lower. I think the minimum is $5. I'd go in there and I'll put a service. I'll create VLOOKUPs for anyone, right? And a lot of people, you'd be surprised how many people don't know how to do this, right? So as you practice, you can make some money on the side. Someone who just sends you a data set, be like, can you create a VLOOKUP for to find this, or can you create a pivot table to arrange the data this way, this way, this way? You can charge like $5, right? It doesn't hurt. You're practicing and you make a little bit of money on the side. So you can definitely make it fun. But also, if you start taking the class itself, the Excel class or Business Excel, you can practicing is gonna be the thing that really, really helps you, because when it comes to Excel, I've learned that the more you do it, the more it becomes like a muscle memory, right? Someone's like, create a VLOOKUP, I can just do it from the keyboard. So practicing is really gonna help you. So if you are, do go the path that I went, where I was like, putting it on Fiverr and telling people that I can create a pivot table for you for $5, that's good practice, right? And if they don't like it, you can revise it. It's like practice, like really good practice. So it's always gonna take practice when it comes to that. Let's see here. What else do we have here? Andrew said, I have a question. How does someone get into investment banking with a GPA below 3.0? I'm going to tell you, my friend, that's going to be very hard with because essentially your GPA doesn't really matter, right? I say that a lot on a bunch of videos. Now, when it comes to investment banking, it is so competitive. Not because there's anything special about it. It's essentially just because it's the glorified position in finance where everyone wants to go to investment banking. Now, if you look at everyone that goes into investment banking, they usually quit within a year, right? Because it is terrible hours. Um, but so the GPA, they use it as kind of like to weed off a bunch of people, right? To like just weed off a bunch of people. So you need like at least a 3.5 really um, to have a chance, right? But if there's a shortage, then yes, you do have a chance. But if you want to be on the side of I'm definitely gonna pass the GPA check at 3.5, 3.7, that's definitely gonna help you. So with that, but if you really, really want to get into investment bank, it doesn't hurt to apply. That's one thing, or to network. It doesn't hurt, right? So if you have the time to do that, then definitely do it. Now, if you don't get into investment banking, you can always do it after college. You can always do it. You have stepping stone. I think I covered this a little earlier. I don't know if you were in the stream. Stepping stone jobs, right? You go be a financial analyst, like entry level, right? You can do that for 2 years. Now you have a bachelor's degree, 2 years worth of work experience, and you know what you're doing, right? To this day, I do have recruiters from investment banks that reach out to me. Right, I graduated with a 2.7 GPA, I believe, or 2.6, something like that. But they reach out to me. They don't ask about my GPA. They'll say they like the work experience. So at some point GPA stops mattering. It stops to matter. But if you are in college, it's a lot of competition. Everyone wants to go into investment banking. A lot of people want to do that, right? So the GPA is kind of like what they use to kind of like limit that the amount of applications they get. But yeah, and also if you really really want to go, if you don't want to go into the workforce, I recommend going to if you want to do your master's, you want to go to graduate school, right? You can now apply to target schools, right? They might be a little more expensive, but if you really want to go to, if you want to be, the homegrown talent for investment banks without going to work for any other job, you can go into a to a graduate school that is like a target school, right? You can obviously Google this and you can kind of like plan it according to that. There are graduate schools that investment banks go to, and you'd be able to start at a higher position than someone who has a bachelor's degree. But a GPA, you definitely need to put that at a 3.5, 3.7. But also, it doesn't hurt to still apply, right? Let's see here. Next one is then the B says thanks Nash and Joey Asteroid, one of my best friends. Said to answer Nash's answer, I took a LinkedIn course on Excel, which gave me a certification, and I have it displayed on my LinkedIn profile now to help with my jobs. Yeah, this definitely helps. LinkedIn has, and if you don't have a LinkedIn, go create a LinkedIn. LinkedIn has these certifications, and there's one on Microsoft Excel, just like Joey said. There's Just take that. It's so easy, right? It's just like still on the platform. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to go outside of LinkedIn. You just take the exam. So that's granted that you kind of like know how to use Microsoft Excel, or you've practiced online. You've done a course on YouTube, a free one, of course. You can take that, and that displays on your profile. Now, when recruiters are looking on your profile, they're gonna be able to see that you have, you're LinkedIn certified in Excel. And there's so many. I think they have a lot of these, mini certifications on LinkedIn. So I would definitely check that out. Yeah, that's a good one, like a good easy one that you can just get through like in one night, right? If you have like some kind of like a background in Microsoft Excel. All right, so next one is from Andrew. Realistically, I might graduate with a 3.3. After graduation, how can I try to get into investment banking? 3.3 is not bad. Um, I mean, you might have, a chance to really, yeah, it just depends on how many people are applying to investment, to be investment bankers. I think nowadays you might even have a chance, right? A lot of people are quitting investment banking because of, there was a whole quitting thing that happened for about a year in investment banking. Um, but yeah, so 3.3, you could try that. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, right? But the higher the better, obviously. But I would definitely talk to if you go to networking events, right? I would ask a recruiter because they're not gonna lie to you most of the time. They don't want to waste your time. They also don't want to waste their time. You can lead with things that you think that you are lacking, right? Like let's say you have a 3.3 GPA, you can ask them, hey, this is what my GPA. What are my chances, right? And most of the times they're gonna be honest. They have no incentive to lie to you. Um, let's see here. Yeah, so definitely if you go to those networking events, if they do those on campus, I would ask the recruiters, what are my chances? Or, if you are networking on LinkedIn, I would definitely do that. Or if you do get kind of like one of those first calls, let me get to know you, I would definitely lead with those things that, you think you might be lacking. Sometimes you'd be surprised. They probably won't even care. It'd be like, oh, that's great. We're just looking for 3.0. Let's see here. All right, so if nobody else has another question, I believe this is it. This was a good 40 some minutes. And I'll probably do this again tomorrow at the same time. Uh, since I'm kind of like chilling right now. I'm on bench and consulting. Oh, there's another good question here. Let's see. Oh, someone's asking about the skills. That's a comment, like a really old comment from a month ago. Asking about the skills. Okay, they used to be in the healthcare industry, and they're becoming a financial analyst, and they're asking about some of the skills when it comes to finance, like the biggest skill. I would say it's gonna be your ability to analyze information, right? Analysis, it's all finance is. analyzing data, usually data that involves money, or if you work in compliance, we covered that a little earlier, where you analyze a little more of that tangible data, right? Maybe you are looking for patterns, but it still involves numbers that are maybe money, or it has numbers in there. So your ability to analyze information is one of the biggest skills you can have in in finance. So you can even break that down to how do you actually analyze the information. Obviously, there's other things like being critical thinking, things like that. Those are like the things that build your analysis skills. But you also have the technical things like Microsoft Excel. Do you know how to use that, right? So definitely analysis, being able to analyze information, and it's the same. You can work as a financial analyst uh let's say for a car company. You can work as a financial analyst for an insurance company. The only thing that changes between all those finance jobs is the numbers that you're working with, right? If it's insurance, you're dealing with premium. If it's a car company, you might be dealing with like sales, revenue, and things like that, right? So, or depending on what department you're in, but or what you're focusing on. But the biggest skill is going to be your ability to analyze, to do analysis, and it doesn't have to be the technical part only. It could also be the other part, which could be listening skills, right? Things like that, and being able to translate that information. And some of the things that you have to do in consulting, or maybe sometimes as a financial analyst, is being able to explain that information to someone who doesn't understand the numbers, right? If a manager is seeing the numbers for the first time, or a client, it doesn't make sense, right? So you have to explain that. So the ability to actually explain or make things make sense, right? You're given a problem, and your job is to maybe rearrange it to where it makes sense, or maybe you have to solve it, right? Yeah, so the biggest skill is being able to analyze information, and in extent is to being able to explain that information, right, to someone else that might not be fully equipped to analyze the information. Um, Oh, there's more questions here. All right, so we'll do this. From Paul, it says, "Hey, I just found this channel and I need some advice. So my question is that I graduated with a 2.1 GPA in physics, but I wanted to work in finance. What should I do to get in? I'm trying to get into private equity or something." So as long as you graduated, right? Your GPA doesn't matter after you graduate. Now, what I would do if you want to get into finance, especially something like private equity, right? That's one of those uh like finance cult, finance bro positions, or like little pockets in finance, like investment banking, private equity, right? I would, once you graduate, you need to list maybe a year or two of actual work experience, right? Because that's gonna, if you talk to a recruiter, right, they're gonna ask, if you just graduated, what was your GPA, right? So they lean towards that. But if you've had a year or year and a half, 2 years of work experience, the GPA question goes away, right? So it's like it's non-existent, right? They don't even ask about your GPA, just ask if you have a college degree. So if you want to get into private equity, I recommend getting into some entry level finance position, right? Some positions will say that you need a background in business or something like that. But most positions actually just say you need higher education, right? You might have to do some really super entry level positions in finance, or you could do there's some certifications you can do online that are related to finance. You can go into insurance, right? That's a good stepping stone job that we talked about earlier, that a lot of people overlook. You can go work in as an analyst for premiums, like that's what I did. You can work in claims, work your way up. You just need a year to 2 years of work experience. That's when your GPA stops to matter. Now you have work experience. How long you can negotiate your salary with your work experience, right? You can negotiate your new position with your work experience, not GPA. So the 2.1, or what was it, 2.1 GPA is not gonna matter. So that I would just work on getting years of work experience under your belt. That's what's going to help you, and preferably something related to finance, where you can kind of like, distance yourself from the physics that you don't like anymore. Yeah, so look for some entry level jobs in finance. You'd be surprised to see that you don't need a finance degree to work in finance, especially for entry level jobs, because most of these jobs are gonna train you on the job, right? It's on the job training for most of these jobs. Um, this one's gonna be from Eric. It says, "Have you done anything in Excel working as a freelancer, like creating spreadsheets for businesses?" Um, Yes, like in the past when I had free time, when I had a lot of free time, I would do that. I would do something like, just list a service on Fiverr, if you know that website. I will create a pivot table for anyone, right? That's like at the time that was the thing that a lot of people didn't know what to do. They have like a huge spreadsheet of information. They're like, but I want to arrange it in this way, and then they look up pivot tables. Like that takes like some skill to learn, right? You need to actually like it to to do it. So that's what I was doing. Some was maybe creating like a projection, like a revenue projection. These are more advanced things that you can obviously learn online on YouTube. There's so many tutorials and courses online, free tutorials that can teach you how to create that, to project revenue, expenses, and things like that. Um, Yes, and right now I've been practicing this because I'm looking to go back into financial analysis and exit consulting. So these are things that I'm actually practicing right now, right? You have to go back and look at those things because it's easier to forget how to do those things. Let's see here. We have one from Joey Astro. Yeah, Nash, you should do more of these episodes. Definitely, yeah. I'm gonna probably do another one, maybe one every day this week, same time. Since right now I am on, I'm between projects in consulting right now, so I kind of like have some free time that I can use to maybe post more videos. But this is gonna remain on the channel. If you want to refer back to it, I'll probably clip it, to make it more specific for someone who doesn't want to watch like the 50-minute old live stream. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. This was fun. We're gonna do the same thing again tomorrow. If you have any questions, um, just you can leave a comment. I'll start with the comments again tomorrow. And if you have any questions, you can always put them in the chat. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow.